What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our starts and sits for Week 15 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. All right, Nick, it is the first week of the playoffs for most fantasy leagues, and with everything going on, the multitude of names that have hit the COVID-19 reserve list in the NFL, there's a lot to sort out. So I want to get started pretty quickly here with the quarterback specifically. Who can we trust to play this week? Who do you got going today?
So for my start quarterback this week, I've got Ryan Tannehill going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ryan Tannehill has been on a surge lately. He's been incredible. And as he gets his receivers back, he's been improving and getting better. This is a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense that just gave up 36 points to the Minnesota Vikings a week ago. So the Tennessee Titans are going to go into Pittsburgh and say, okay, we know your defense isn't good. We're going to throw the ball because we have the talent to do so, and we're just going to bully you around all day long. Ryan Tannehill is going to have an incredible fantasy day, and he's a great quarterback to play if you need one going into your playoffs. For my sit quarterback, I'm going with Jimmy Garoppolo going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing fairly well, but as far as fantasy goes, I don't think this is going to be a great matchup for him. When you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they're playing really strong right now, and they are still in the playoff hunt. They're still playing to make it into the postseason, and the 49ers are already there. I don't know if they're going to get lackadaisical, but I don't believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a very smooth ride to victory and a very smooth game overall. I think he's going to struggle. I think that the Atlanta Falcons know how to scheme against him, and they're going to be able to take advantage of him. He's just not going to have a fantasy day. The 49ers might end up winning the game, but I just can't trust Jimmy Garoppolo in my playoffs.
Absolutely right. And for my start quarterback, I'm going with a guy that I can trust a little bit more, and that being Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has a floor where you know exactly what you're going to get. I think we saw his floor last week when he threw for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. Everything is up from there, and it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now he's facing off against the Chicago Bears, who are absolutely hammered with injuries and just no talent on the back end of this defense. And right now they are playing for pride, and they are playing to keep their playoff hopes alive. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have to lead this team, especially with no Alexander Mattison. They are not going to give the ball to Dalvin Cook every single play. They just simply cannot do it. So they're going to have to throw the ball. I believe that Jay Jettas and KJ Osborne are going to really be involved here. I like Kirk Cousins against Chicago, and I would start him this week. And for my sit quarterback, I'm going with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz going against the #1 defense in the NFL. The New England Patriots are coming to town, and they are bringing Matt Judon and this entire pass rush. They have J.C. Jackson locking up Michael Pittman, who we'll talk about in a little bit. I think this just spells a terrible day all around for the Indianapolis Colts offense. I'm sitting Carson Wentz this week.
And next up for our running backs, my start of the week, James Robinson against the Houston Texans. Bye-bye, Urban Meyer, you're gone, which means James Robinson back to full duty, and you know he's going to get the rock a ton, and he's going to demolish the Houston Texans. He's ready to prove a point that just because he fumbles once does not mean he's a bad running back. This guy was a 1,000+ yard rusher in his rookie year when he was an undrafted rookie. Incredible talent. Urban Meyer doesn't understand talent, and I know it. James Robinson is that, and he's going to ball out against the Houston Texans, who are abysmal against the run this season. James Robinson, look for him to have a massive day. And for my sit running back, I'm going with Devonta Freeman against the Green Bay Packers. Devonta Freeman has been doing fairly well as the starter for the Baltimore Ravens, but I think the Green Bay Packers offense is going to present a massive problem that's going to put up a ton of points. We're going to have to see the Baltimore Ravens throw the ball. They're going to have to get out of their comfort zone and throw the ball ball a lot more. Devonta Freeman, he does catch the ball in the backfield, but I think they're going to have to look for big playability. They're going to have to look for Hollywood Brown and Rashad Bateman. They've got to make sure that they're getting in the end zone as much as Green Bay Packers are, and they're not going to do that but by dinking and dunking the ball to Devonta Freeman. I just think that he is not the way to go this week.
For my start running back, I'm going with Tennessee Titans running back D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman has been absolutely phenomenal with the Tennessee Titans in the stead of Derrick Henry. This entire rushing attack has been really well, and they have not stopped hammering the ball on the ground just because they lost Derrick Henry, who is arguably the best running back in the league right now. D'Onta Foreman is part of a rushing attack that saw over 100 yards rushing for the third straight game. This is a team that is going to will you on the ground. They're going to out-dominate you and outwork you, and the D'Onta Foreman is leading the pack right now for the Tennessee Titans. I really like what he's been able to do, and facing against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who seem to not want to tackle anyone, as Dalvin Cook ran for over 200 yards against them. I think D'Onta Foreman's going to present similar issues for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I think D'Onta Foreman is a good start this week if you need one. For my sit running back, I'm going with Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard going against the Buffalo Bills defense. It's supposed to be cold and blistery and just a typical December day in Buffalo when the Carolina Panthers take them on. I believe Chuba Hubbard is not going to get the rock at all. I think the Carolina Panthers are going to be playing from behind a lot in this game, and it's not going to look pretty at all. I expect a lot more from the rushing quarterbacks, whether it be PJ Walker or Cam Newton, than I do from the actual running backs themselves, sitting Chuba Hubbard in my playoff game.
Next up for our wide receivers, for my start of the week, I'm going with Allen Lazard against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have had their bad luck when it comes to cornerback injuries, and they lost their second best corner a couple weeks ago. With Marlon Humphrey out of the picture, it's going to be smooth sailing for Davante Adams and Allen Lazard, and we know the focus is going to be on Davante Adams because he's already got over 1,200 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, and he's coming on strong late this season. He's going to be the big focus to stop, and which means Allen Lazard is going to have a lot of one-on-one matchups with no help over the top with the safety. It's going to be a great matchup for Allen Lazard to get a lot of targets and for a lot of big play potential because he is a speedster, he's a big body, and he's hard to cover in those 50-50 ball situations. Aaron Rodgers is going to look for him a lot, and it's going to lead to a very big day. For my sit wide receiver, I'm going with Hollywood Brown on the other side. The Green Bay Packers defense has been playing incredibly strong, and this is going to be a very lopsided game. Baltimore's going to be playing from behind a lot. They're going to focus on Hollywood Brown because frankly there really aren't too many other options they have to worry about, especially if Lamar Jackson is under center. Even if it's Tyler Huntley, no one really cares because the passing game is still going to be lackluster at best. Hollywood Brown's not going to see a lot of targets. He's not going to have a lot of opportunities to even catch the ball. I just don't think that this is the week to play him. I'm sitting him this week.
My start wide receiver, I'm going with Chicago Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney has just been absolutely phenomenal, and he's had at least 5 targets in 12 of the 13 games he's played all season. You know he's going to be able to get targets, and with all the players we've seen enter the COVID-19 reserve list so far this week, Darnell Mooney is going to capitalize on a lot of the issues that we see from the Minnesota Vikings, so I think that he would be a great start if you need to start a wide receiver. For my sit wide receiver, I'm going with Michael Pittman. I know we talked a little bit about Carson Wentz, but Michael Pittman's going to be locked up against J.C. Jackson. This passing offense is going to be anemic at best. I think they are going to have to really rely on Jonathan Taylor in a pace-down game and really try to bring and outwill the New England Patriots if they have a shot at winning this one. I don't believe it's going to be won through the air, and I think Michael Pittman is going to have a relatively pedestrian day. I'm setting Michael Pittman this week.
And finally, for our tight ends, my start of the week, Foster Moreau against the Cleveland Browns. As we all know, the Browns have been going through it this week. Over 16 players have been added to that COVID-19 protocol list, and their starting quarterback going to this game is Nick Mullins. That's the guy who has to lead the Browns. It's going to be a very bad day for the Browns all around, and I know the passing game is going to get going for the Las Vegas Raiders. They've had their struggles, and no Darren Waller once again. Foster Moreau is going to be thrust trust back in the position. When Derek Carr is throwing the ball, you know he loves throwing to the tight end position. Expect a lot of targets and a lot of receptions from Foster Moreau. He'll be a great start this week. For my sit tight end, I'm going with Gerald Everett against the Los Angeles Rams. Everett, he's been up and down a lot, mostly down this season. He's had some nice touchdowns, but you can't rely on him when he's that touchdown dependent. He doesn't get a lot of targets, he doesn't get a lot of looks, and he's not on the field all that much either. Don't expect him to have a big day. I'm sitting him this week.
For my start tight end, I'm going with Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki is in line for a massive day as wide receiver Jalen Waddle is on the COVID-19 reserve list. Devontae Parker may or may not play, which leaves Mac Hollins and Mike Gesicki as the 1 and 2 options for Tua Tagovailoa against the New York Jets. Now, the Jets are nobody, really. They're not playing for anything. They've been eliminated from the playoffs. They really don't have the defense to compete. But I think Mike Gesicki is going to really take it to the New York Jets in this one. I believe that he's going to provide a really big comfort zone for Tua Tagovailoa in the passing game. And I think at some point they're going to have to pass, especially because the Miami Dolphins don't have 3 running backs that they're used to having because of COVID-19. So at the end of the day, Mike Gesicki is pretty much the only reliable offensive weapon on this team, and I'm going to stick with him. For my sit tight end, I'm going with a big name, and that being Kyle Pitts. I know Kyle Pitts is a fringe tight end 1 right now with the numbers he's been putting up as of late, but honestly, I can't trust him, especially against San Francisco with a defense that is going to sell out to stop this guy. San Francisco knows exactly what it is to stop a tight end as good as Kyle Pitts is because they have one of their own. George Kittle is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and they get to see him in practice every single day. The San Francisco 49ers rank 4th when it comes to defending tight ends in the NFL, and right now I believe that they're going to have to really have a big day, shut out Kyle Pitts, and let Russell Gage be the one to lead the Falcons offense. Otherwise, the San Francisco 49ers are going to have to shut down Kyle Pitts and allow Matt Ryan to find his other weapons if they want to have a shot in this one. All right, well, I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below if you have any fantasy lineup questions. I know it's a little different having this done on a Saturday, but because of the Saturday games, that's why we had to post it today. So feel free to let us know either on Twitter or in the comments down below if you have any fantasy lineup questions, any questions you want us to figure out for you, whether you should pick up a certain player or not. We'll be happy to help. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.